Here we are. We are all at home. Well, most of us are at home. I am home here at Starlight Farm, and I'm coming to you from the Belvedere. And I want to talk about staying home and working from home, because guess what? That's what we're all doing these days. How are you coping? How are you adjusting? Is it working? How's that homeschooling thing turning out for you? I have to admit, I did see a very funny post on Instagram last week through a friend of mine that was a report on day one from homeschooling. 2 students were suspended for fighting in class, and the teacher was fired for drinking on the job. Hasn't come to that in our household yet, but these are different days, and we are all coping and adapting as best as we can. So I thought what I would do is comb through our archives. I started thinking about home workspaces, and it turns out I've designed lots of home-based workspaces over the years, and I thought I would just share them with you to give you hopefully some ideas or inspiration and some thoughts on how you might be able to make this work for you at home, because it sounds like that's where we're all going to be for the foreseeable future. First of all, let's talk about strategy. What's your strategy for working at home? Have you figured one out yet, or are you just playing it day by day? Some people, you may be working in your pajamas, and that is totally okay if that's what works for you. I tried that one day. That did not work for me. That is not my strategy. So even when I'm home, and even if I'm not seeing anybody at all, I am a get up, get showered, get dressed kind of person, because that is how I feel my best. In order to work my best, I have to feel my best. So that's my strategy. I don't judge if that's not the way you roll, but I'm just sharing in case you were wondering, Sarah, what are you doing? I tried working at the kitchen table. I did that for a few days, but then you're in the midst of everything. One thing I can tell you is I am one of those people, you could say I'm a procrastinator, but I work best when my area around me is all neat and tidy. So if I'm working at the kitchen table, I feel compelled to clean up the entire kitchen first. That could delay my getting down to work habits. So I think it's best to set yourself up with an area. Have a designated area so you know that when you get to that space, you are there to focus, you are there to work, you're there to do your best job and get things done. Because that's what we're trying to do while we juggle all of these crazy things happening in our world, like adding homeschooling to the list. Okay, so I've gone through, and I've got a little cheat here on my phone of photos of different desk solutions and work at home solutions that I have designed over the years. Let's talk about placement of a desk. You know what I like? I like a desk placed in front of a window. Even if I am trying to focus and do my best job, I like having something to look out to. I'm not somebody who loves to stare at a wall. So if you can, having a small desk placed in front of a window, that's a nice solution. Look at this first picture. This is a vintage desk that I bought. I think I paid $65 for this desk. And then what I did was I removed the base and I had a custom walnut base put on it, and I changed the hardware. Little things you can do to make a big change. Now I realize going out shopping right now is probably not your reality. I'm just trying to inspire you with some ideas. Here's another image now. This is a more formal desk approach. Both of these images are bedroom desks. And in normal days and in normal times, I probably wouldn't say, goal number 1, put a desk in your bedroom. However, if you have multiple people working in your house, having a desk in the bedroom is a great idea because you can close the door and you can have your own zone. If you need to get on a conference call, if you need to get on a video call, hopefully you can do it undisturbed. And realistically, even if you get disturbed, we're all dealing with the same struggles these days, so interruptions are most welcome. Next, are you feeling the need to tackle a DIY? Well then, maybe you want to try the office in a closet solution. You've got a closet, all you need to do is remove the hanging rod and remove whatever else is currently inside it. You can install a simple piece of shelf pine to make a desk. You can put shelves along the upper part of the wall for all your storage. In this case, the Cozy Cute Office add-on was really to store office supplies. The desktop surface has storage below, so you couldn't actually use this area as a desk. However, it can be done. And I have a friend who did just that, and I did it on one of my very, very, very first TV series 20 years ago. So this is a good solution. This is another thing I love to do. Take a desk and instead of putting it up against the wall, let it come out perpendicular to the wall. That means you can sit at your desk while admiring the whole room around you. This was an inexpensive desk that I found, and I sprayed it, of course, because you know I love to spray things. I sprayed this white, and then I added a marble top on it, just to make it feel a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more durable. So this goes down in the history books as one of my favorite home offices. Want to talk about favorite home offices? Let's talk about my home office. My home office here at Starlight is a hybrid. This is the double duty, or actually triple duty space. This is my office, this is the laundry room, and it's also a craft space. So some people think, what? Why would you do that? And my take is that in every building project, there are always trade-offs to be made. You can't get everything you want. And I wanted to have a second floor laundry room so that it would be close to the majority of the bedrooms, and so it would have a great view. But it seemed decadent to design this space to only be for laundry. So I added a desk surface that sits underneath the windows and also a laundry sink. And people have called out in comments before, very funny on social media, people have said, that sink in the corner is useless. I'm not washing dishes there. I might be soaking something. Plus, if the kids are doing any painting projects or craft projects, it's a great place for cleanup. So think about adding all of those purposes all together. Think about having a multifunctional space, because if I'm doing laundry, I'm not working. And if I'm working, I don't run the laundry. It's as simple as that. I schedule it all accordingly. And the countertop, it's Caesar stone. It's pure white Caesar stone. And the best part about this is if it ever gets a stain on it, I can just bleach it out, and the bleach is right there because of the laundry. If it gets paint on it, you can scrape it off. Okay, let's talk about, I have so many offices to talk to you about. Okay, let's talk about another DIY idea. You know I love corbels, right? Sarah loves corbels. Sarah Hart Corbel. What is a corbel? It's a piece of architectural salvage. And I often buy them because I find them and I think they're great, and I know that I will use them for something at some point. I use them to support a window bench. I use them as the support for wall-mounted shelves in a kitchen, let's say. And I also sometimes use them as a desk support. And this is sort of fun. This is Robin's desk at Starlight Farm, which is currently getting plenty of use because she is now doing online school. And you know what it's made of? 2 corbels that we attached to the wall, and we painted white to match all the paneling. And then the desktop, I have to share because this was an end of the line, end of the project solution. In Fiona's bathroom, we turned an old desk into a vanity. We took off the original pine top and we replaced it with a piece of marble. Then we had that piece of pine left over. We took 2 corbels in Robin's room, mounted them to the wall, and topped it with a piece of pine. So that's Robin's room. Let's talk about Fiona's room. Let's talk about an idea that comes from way, way back. The way, way back files, before Fiona was even born. I'm talking 2008, Sarah's House Season 2. I designed a tween bedroom, and we had a pair of symmetrical closets that had a sort of nook space in between. And I thought, oh, well, there isn't much space left here for a piece of furniture, so why don't we just build in something super inexpensive? We used IKEA countertop, supported on a pair of steel legs, and then we mounted some open shelves. And this was where the original idea for a pair of closets flanking a recessed space came from. And look, all that's old is new again. In 2016, for the build of Sarah Off the Grid, Starlight Farm, I repeated that very same idea in Fiona's room, except this time, instead of a built-in solution, I did a pretty freestanding desk with a vintage chair. You'll notice in a lot of these photos, I'm using a vintage chair. Why, you ask? Well, normally bedroom desks are for using for a short period of time. They're not necessarily designed for 8 hours a day straight. So as long as you have an occasional chair that is the right height, I like it to have an upholstered seat so it has some softness and a straight back to keep you upright. If you want to put an ergonomic chair with yours, by all means do. if this continues for months on end, we may need some ergonomic task chairs. But for now, fortunately, the kids get to take breaks and nobody's complained about their bum falling asleep. Okay, what other ones can I tell you about? Oh, super easy, super simple solution, butcher block. Let's talk about butcher block and filing cabinets or simple storage cabinets. This is an idea I have repeated over and over again since the beginning of my career. You can use your standard basic low filing cabinets, they're metal, and you can spray them any color you want. In this case, look, we did a sort of, I'd call it a paprika orange, and then we topped it with a piece of butcher block counter. This is the most simple and one of the most affordable solutions that delivers both storage and ample counter surface. So there's certain pieces of butcher block that you can buy that are designed as an island worktop, and they are finished on all sides. And then you can drop it on top of a pair of filing cabinets or small storage sets of drawers. And if you want, you could even float this in the middle of the room so people could work on either side. Really, there's no installation needed. There is no cutting needed, and the butcher block is actually heavy enough that you don't even have to fasten it because it is not going anywhere. Do you like that solution? I like this solution. I did a solution very similar to this in Robin's bedroom at the cottage this summer, where I got 2 very inexpensive cabinets and a piece of IKEA butcher block, and I just put the butcher block on top. It sits underneath a window, and it's a huge, awesome desk space. Let's look at another space. This one is from London, England. This is a really fun project I did about a decade ago. And this is a family room, but also a games room / workspace. And we bought an antique library table that had a tooled leather top on it. And what was neat is this is a games table. So you can pull it out from the wall, you can have games night and everybody can sit around it, or we placed it so it was sitting underneath the window, and the table itself is wide enough that people can sit on opposite sides. And when I see this, there's something about this that reminds me of being in university when you used to go study at the library, and half of the fun of being there was sitting across from your friend and being able to have that feeling of togetherness. Now, I think that a lot of us right now in our homes have so much togetherness. Maybe we need some not togetherness so that we can really focus and get our work done. But I'm just sharing that there's a way that you can incorporate work solutions that should be useful to you even after we get through what we're going through right now. You should always be able to enjoy having a well-appointed work from home workspace. Here's one, desk at the foot of a bed. Now, this comes from Sarah's cottage, and this is our teeny tiny little bunkie. And I'm gonna tell you something interesting about this. We don't have guests all the time, but the Minister of Exteriors and I do need to do work just about every day. We try not to on weekends. And having a little place that we can go where you can close the door is very important. So I tucked this small desk. I believe desks can be small but mighty. I don't think you need a huge boardroom table-sized desk. You don't need a giant executive desk. When it's me working, all I need is a comfortable chair and space to put my laptop. So think about this. If you use a small desk, this one comes from one of our favorite suppliers. This comes from one of my favorite suppliers, Bungalow 5. They do beautiful furniture, lots of great colors, and what I like about this is it is shallow, so it just tucks neatly at the end of the bed. The bunkie is super duper compact. It is a teeny tiny space, but now whether it's for us using it because we need it or for visitors, this becomes a really great double duty space. Let's talk about what happens if you have a custom built-in solution and then you move. And you may worry, oh no, I have to leave it behind. Actually, you don't. I have clients who had his and hers offices on the second floor of their home. And when they moved, the people who were moving in didn't want those office spaces and they were planning to use them as a kid's bedroom and a nursery. So you know what they did? They lovingly, carefully, and gently removed all of the cabinetry, and my team was able to repurpose it in a kitchen area in an entirely new way. It's fantastic. It's a small workspace. It's got terrific storage. It's got shelving, and it's even got a little low section that sits underneath the windowsill so that you can have the window open, you can have a nice plant there. And it's really about thinking how you can always make the most and do the best with what you have, because that's what all of us are trying to do every day, and definitely today. What else can I show you? Okay, here's one. If you've been following along on my YouTube series, you may have already seen this, but I'm gonna repeat it for you here. This is what happens when you take an antique pine dining table that's not being used as a pine dining table anymore, and you turn it into a kid's workspace, craft space, play space. What I did was I took this old pine table and I tucked it just underneath the stairs. Now, let's talk about the realities here. Yes, the stairs are open. And so yes, if there's a lot of dust coming from up above, it's going to fall on the table. But let's be honest, this is no longer a dining table. This is a work table. All you need to do is dust it off every day, and it is a great spot for kids to be able to spread out and play. Because I find that right now, when we are spending so much time at home, there's a lot of puzzles happening. There are board games, which we might come back to over and over again, play for a little bit, go and do some work, come back and play it again. And so you want to think about those areas where you might be able to set up that it's not on your dining table and it's not in the middle of your space and totally underfoot. A place where you can sort of tuck it out of the way. Okay, oh, here's one. This one makes me smile because this comes from home. This comes from home in the city. And this is what I did in our playroom at home years and years ago. I used all in-stock cabinetry, and I created an area to hold all the kids' toys, an area that could be a workspace, crafting space for the kids when they were little, and easy access toy storage for them. So there's tall wardrobes on the side, then there's nice deep storage drawers with bright colored chunky hardware that was designed to be playful and fun and exciting. And then in between those lower storage units, I did a floating desk. Just one piece of butcher block that was screwed into each side of the cabinets. And here we have tall storage, medium storage with countertop surface, and then the desktop surface. So this really is best of all worlds. This held everything from princess costumes to beads, paints, construction paper, toys, puzzles, you name it. I see this photo and I am taken back to those days when the girls were little, which they aren't anymore. But let me tell you, if you are struggling with clutter right now, you may want to think about using in-stock cabinetry to create a really easy DIY solution that helps you get organized. Oh, here's another super, are you handy? Do you have a bay window and a piece of plywood and need a desk? This is a solution for you. Sarah's house, season 1, the 3rd floor had this great bay window area. So what did we do? We took a piece of plywood and we scribed it to the shape of the bay window. We put a little piece of nosing on it. So a piece of 1x2 pine will do, because the plywood's only gonna be 3/4 of an inch thick. You want cabinet grade plywood. That means it's perfectly smooth. If you want, you can stain that plywood, or I decided to paint it. We used a very simple shelf bracket to give it extra support on the sides, tucked a chair in there. If you want to be able to run your cords and everything through it, you'll need to get a hole saw bit for your drill so that you can simply drill a hole through the surface, and you can get one of the little grommet covers that you can get either from an office supply store, or you can get it at your big box store, or you can just paint it and don't worry about it. And that way you can run all of your cords right through the desktop. That's about 21 photos and ideas that I've shared. The number one thing is I want you to think about how you can work, how you can stay focused and positive, and how you can make the most of every day, because not every day is an easy day, and we're all facing challenges, and I'm coming to you from my home wishing you safety and health in your home.